And this is just a little pop-up author's tea. Yes, vlog number 4, I believe it is. I've got my creativity right here. And today we have dessert tea. It is caramel apple pie. Very sweet. Good for dessert. Well, I didn't schedule this. No, I just came into the studio and I was thinking about my story that I'm writing, all about Soggy Bottom and the fairies. I got my fairies right here, right? And I was like, I've been out of commission for, oh, somebody's popping in. Oh, let me go check on that. Yes, I've been out of commission for a couple weeks and I haven't had time to look at my story, think about my story. Yes, I was so sick. I was so sick. All right, I'm getting there. Hang on one second. I want to be able to see my chat. It's Debbie. Howdy, Debbie. Well, thank you for popping in. Yes, thank you for popping in. And I'm getting a spinning circle on my computer. I don't know why. Let me try to refresh that. Oh, okay. I think I'm there now. I think I'm there. Whoops. Nope, don't want to do that. Howdy, Debbie, again. Well, I was just saying, I haven't even thought about my story. And I've just been feeling a little bit better the last couple of days. And I got out all my paperwork here. And a little overwhelmed, a little overwhelmed. Yes. Oh, Lala. Oh, thank you, Lori, for popping in. I know I didn't schedule this. And I was just telling Debbie, I just came in and sat down. I was going over some things from my story. And I wanted just to come on real quick and thank a few people for the comments that they left under my author's tea videos. Oh, Mary Beth and Trisha's here. Well, howdy, howdy. Wow, I didn't expect anybody to show up. I was hoping a few folks might pop in, right? But like I said, I just want to thank a few people for some things that they offered in the comments below my author's tea. And, it's the end of the day. I was getting a little tired. And it's much easier actually to just push the button and start a live than to actually record a video and edit it and upload it and describe it and all that stuff. So this is just me being a little, I don't want to say lazy because I'm recuperating. I'm recuperating, right? Oh, yes, Lala, thank you so much. Okay, take your time. Mary Beth. Mary Beth, thank you so much for the protein, the high protein bone broth. Yes. Oh, I'm gonna try one for lunch tomorrow. Oh, I really need those so much. Yes, I do. I got a surprise package from Mary Beth. Yes, she sent me some bone broth, very high in protein, and with the lymphangiectasia condition, you lose all the protein out of your body. Yes, so I'm definitely going to try those. Oh, Trisha, thank you. Thank you. Well, I got a few folks here. I'm so excited. First of all, I want to thank, I got to go back in my notes here. I want to thank Becky Hollis. Yes, maybe you're watching on the replay, Becky. But she said, I've never seen an author at work. She called me an author. She called me an author. I was like, oh, thank you, Becky. So I hope you're watching at least on the replay, Becky. Oh, Mary Kay popped in. Hello, howdy, howdy. Okay, so Becky Hollis just called me an author. Yes, thank you so much, Becky. I haven't published anything yet, but I'm so excited she called me an author. Yes. Oh, and Martha makes art. She had suggested doing a hand-drawn map of Soggy Bottom and putting it like maybe in the back of the book, Oh, thank you, Lala. Lala is so supportive whenever anybody does anything. Yeah, she announces it. She does everything. And while I was down and out, yeah, she made all those little announcements about me being in the hospital and everything. Oh, Lala, you're such a sweetheart. Mary Kay. Yes. Okay, so I'm an author, and Martha makes art. She has a wonderful channel. She does lives too. If you want to go check her out, Martha Makes Art. She suggests doing like a hand-drawn map of Soggy Bottom. So I was thinking, since I'm going to do 4 books, that in the first book, I would leave a lot of areas blank and only put in the areas that are covered in the story. And there's going to be a few because there's a big search that's going to go on in the story, and 2 things are missing and they have to be found. And then maybe when I do the next book, some other areas will come into play and then I'll add them to the map. So as the series progresses, there'll be new areas to explore on the map. I can already think of a couple of them. I don't have it all worked out, but there's a few things I'm gonna add in. Aw, la la. Oh, Martha's here. Martha, I'm just talking about you. Were your ears ringing? Talking about your suggestion of a map. And I decided that this is something I might want to do because it's a series and the map will have blank spots on it, and only the areas covered in the first book will be on the map. And then in the second book, some other areas will be uncovered as the characters explore out to different places. And then in the fourth book, so it's like spring, summer, fall, and winter, the map will be pretty much complete. So that was my idea. Thank you, Martha, for that. Trisha, I have to write them. I'm working on. I know. I would have had a lot done in the last 2 weeks because just before I got sick, those couple of days before, not this Friday live I did, but my last one before I got sick, I had written over 5,000 words. Yes. And like a novelette is like 10, 15,000 words. So I was just rolling along with the story. And yeah, everything got put back on the shelf for 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get back into it. Oh, Janet Nash. Howdy, Janet. Thanks for popping in. I can't stop because it's bedtime here. Have loads of fun. Nighty night, Janet. Thank you for just popping in. Yes, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Nighty night. Sweet dreams, Janet. Yes. Really enjoyed your live this morning. Yes, I did. I know, long day for you today. And, she's so many hours ahead, right? Howdy. Oh, Rudy popped in. Thank you. Thank you, Rudy, for popping in. Oh, yes, lots of ideas. I'm just thanking folks. Yes, came on real quick. I was just telling everybody it was easier for me to do this than to sit down and make a video right now because I was a little tired today. Yeah, a little tired today. So I thank Martha for the map idea, and I thank Becky for calling me an art author. And well, Linda Burton had an idea. And I know, Janet, that Lala, she's just so good about putting things out there. Yes. She wanted Flat Stanley to be in the story, but I can't do that, Linda, because he's copyrighted. He's got all his own books. I would have to change him a whole lot to get him into the story. Now, Mayor Stinky Winky Woos, that was somebody else's idea. So I'm sorry, Linda, unless I really change him up a lot, I can't put Flat Stanley in the story. But somebody had the idea, and I know it's in here somewhere, about adding, Beverly Peters. Yes, it was her granddaughter, whose name is Autumn, thought the Stinky Winky Woo should be in the story somewhere as the mayor of Soggy Bottom. So, there's the morning dove o'clock. Live, right? Live. Yeah, so I think he will at some point have to come in an official capacity. The mayor, it's she. I said he. Stinky Winky Woos will show up as the mayor. I can do that, but not Flat Stanley. Oh, and there were so many more other ideas. Oh, Heather C. Crafter's Alley by Heather C. Is Vicky here? Did I miss anybody else? Let me scroll back. I didn't see Vicky come in. Debbie was the first one here. I said howdy to Mary Kay and Mary Beth and Janet and Martha and Rudy. Oh, there she is. I see you, Vicky. Howdy. Thanks for popping in. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, so Heather C., Crafter's Alley by Heather C. She was explaining to me about beta readers, and I put that in the title of my little thumbnail, beta readers. And her daughter is an editor and sometimes beta reader. And this is all stuff I'm learning, I know. It's like I'm writing the story while I'm learning like what I'm supposed to be doing, but that's okay. Learn as you go, right? Learn on the job training. A beta reader is often unpaid, okay? Often a non-professional who reads a manuscript and provides feedback before it's published. Now, these beta readers, they offer you insights from the average reader's perspective, okay? Average reader's perspective. And that's why I need y'all, right? You're my beta readers. Because before you give it to a professional, you just want the average reader, right? Somebody who wants to read your book to let you know from their perspective, about the plot, about the pacing of the story. Maybe it goes too fast, maybe it slows down. Somebody already mentioned in my author's tea video about, I kind of jumped. I did some jumping and I'm trying to go back and fill those spaces in and other aspects of the work. Okay. So that was from Heather C. Heather C. That was very important. And so I'm going to call y'all my beta readers and I'm going to give you a lot of the story. I'm sorry, but I need your help. So let's see, there was a few other people. Oh, YouTube Lena, right. She mentions Chat GPT and somebody else did too. Let me go back here for a minute and read this. Okay. All right. Oh, Kim, howdy, Kim. Thanks for popping in. I'm new here, she says. Hi from Tennessee. Well, this is not my usual live. No. This is not my usual live. No. I'm just was out of commission for 2 weeks. I was in the hospital. I was sick. I had started writing a story and doing some author's tea videos to get some feedback from my possum peeps. And so this evening, after being out of commission for 2 weeks, I'm trying to get back into my story. And I was a little tired, so I thought just hopping on live would be a little bit easier than making a video and processing and uploading and do all that. So I have a whole bunch of people here. I know I didn't schedule this, but thank you, Kim, for jumping in. What about a flat, sticky, winky woo, says Mary Beth. Oh, that's funny. Oh, she's fat, not flat. We'll see. Oh, you're welcoming Kim. Thank you, Mary Beth. Could the mayor be a judge in some kind of contest? Well, something's going to go on. I'm not going to get that far into the story where, yeah, there's something, it's going to happen and she's going to come in and officiate. I just got home and yay, Patty is on. Oh, thank you, Vicky. Judy D, howdy. Yes, I know, Judy. I was out for 2 weeks. Welcome, Kim. This is a safe place. Thank you, Lala. Martha's welcoming Kim too. We have a live every Friday at noon. Yes, my live is usually Friday at noon in which I'm doing journaling. But this is just a pop-up. What day is today? Monday. This is a Monday author's tea. Yes. Okay, so Judy's here. All right, so YouTube Lena talking about Chat GPT. Now, I had never used this before and I started plugging things in there. 90% of what came out was like, oh, I hated it. Yes. But I'm learning how to use it properly. I'm learning how to use it properly. Yes, I am. I was just putting in some ideas and asking it to generate some stuff, and I was like, ooh, yuck, I don't like that at all. So what I did was I took a couple of the opening paragraphs that I had written and I popped those in. And I asked it to tell me which parts, passages were showing and which were telling. Because as a writer, you're supposed to do a lot more showing than telling. Okay. A lot more showing than telling. So I'm going to go over that in a moment. Dr. Glenda, Dr. B is here. Fun to catch my first Possum Patty live. We've missed you, and I am very grateful for your healing. Well, thank you, thank you. Dr. B is in the house. I know, I don't usually do these on Monday night, no. So I'm just talking about the story that I'm writing, my fairy tales from Soggy Bottom. And I love to come on and just bounce things off my possum peeps that I just described what beta readers are. And so all y'all are my beta readers. Now, I watched a couple videos on how to write stories. After I started writing a story, I know, a little backwards sometimes. But I was wondering about the protagonist. Yes, the protagonist, the central character, the protagonist. And I've got to flesh them out a little bit more as I'm going through the story. So I'm going to do a major rewrite. Not major, but I'm going to be adding things in. And I already added some stuff in if you come to my other author's teas. Oh, Martha, she's been playing with GPT. Yes, you've got to kind of figure out how to use it correctly, right? How to use it correctly. I am not using it to write the story, but I am using it to help me become a better writer. Something like that, okay? Okay, so yes, I asked it about showing and telling, and I didn't ask it about the protagonist yet, but I was watching a video about protagonist. So that's the main character in the story, and that's the journey the reader's going to follow. Now, all my possum peeps know, if they've been to the author's tea videos, that I have three main characters: Angela Rose, Maggie Rose, and Ruthie Rose. Okay, and I don't think that's going to be too much. I hope. I mean, I think that's okay, right? As long as they give them distinct personalities, and somebody had mentioned this in the comments under an author's tea, as long as they were very distinct and they all had certain jobs. So, like Angela Rose is the caregiver, and there's a few characters that are going to need a lot of care, and Maggie Rose is the cook. She loves to cook for people, and Ruthie Rose is the artistic problem solver. Yes, the artistic problem solver, and the singer cook, and the caregiver who likes to dance. Yes, so they all have their personalities. And I did rewrite a lot of the first part of the story, but I'm going to go back and rewrite that again to flesh out their characters a little bit. And down here is Pixie. I don't know if you can see Pixie, but Pixie's going to be in book 1 too. Okay, book 1 also, I should say. All right, so put your books down, ladies. She's got an apron on right now, but this is Angela. And all these fairies, not Pixie, but the fairies were made by Julia over in the UK. And this is Maggie. Their descriptions change a bit in the story. And this is Ruthie. This is Ruthie. This is what they look like without their aprons on. The other two had aprons on because they were working. They were journaling, yeah. And yeah, those three were made in the UK. Julia's Foxes and Fairies. I could put a link below. I got my creativity here. Okay, so Martha says yes. I forgot the question. So, is it too much having 3 protagonists or not too much having 3 protagonists? I'm an author. I have to speak like this now. 3 protagonists, yes. So I'll flesh them out. Anybody want to answer me here, please? Okay, so main story 3, I'm fleshing them out. And yeah, and they all gonna like be consistent, that they have their little personalities and how they handle different things. So 3 is perfect. Thank you, Lala. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so 3. But then, so those are the 3 main characters. And then there's another character who shows up. I'll tell you, his name is Wilson. He's going to show up. And I sort of already started rewriting his part. Pixie's part I didn't get to yet, because it winds up being a double problem. I don't know if they're quite antagonists. You got your protagonist and your antagonist. So the 2 characters that cause problems for the 3 main characters to solve is going to be Pixie and Wilson. I'll let you know about Wilson. And that's a lot. That's a lot. 3 protagonists and 2 antagonists. So we already got 5 characters. But I'm going to try to give each one of them a really solid section describing them. Okay, describing them. And then there's going to be a few other minor characters that show up. So you have 3 main characters, 2 antagonists, and a couple little minor characters that'll sort of gather at the end and finish up the story. But they will show up in other books. So they'll be introduced, but their main parts might be in another book, if that makes sense. Okay, so Mary Case is perfect. Okay, I know. This is me trying to figure out how to be an author. Yeah. Okay. What should we go over? I did all that. All right. Is there anything you want to know? Mary Beth, I can't wait. Okay, I'm changing the introduction where I describe them to make it less passive, okay? And all right, if you are here, oh, see I've been going slashing things, learning how to make things more readable, cutting out words. And I didn't use GPT chat for that, Chat GPT for that. But I did plug in Grammarly. And it kind of highlights your mistakes. And I have the free version, so it only gives you like 1 good mistake, two mistakes a day or something like that. But it was really good for slashing out unnecessary phrases. And somebody had mentioned that. Thank you, Mary Kay. You've got this. Yay. All right. Should I read a little bit? I just want to go over. You're going to do perfectly. You are a natural storyteller, Patty. Thank you, Lala. Well, and I've been learning a little bit about being the author. And the problem is you have all the characters in your head. You have everybody's backstory in your head. You know what happened, what's going to happen. And sometimes when you write it down, you're either saying too much or not enough for the average reader. That's my beta readers, right? So that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on. Thank you, Mary Kay, so much. Okay. So at the beginning of the story, it's advised not to to set the scene, but don't spend 10 pages describing the world that the story takes place in. And the world that the story takes place in is Soggy Bottom. Soggy Bottom. And I have I have five revisions here. And I tried to label them as I went along, but I didn't. So I kind of look back at them a little bit. I think this is number 5. That's number 4. There's number 5. Here's number 5. Okay, I'm going to change that page. Also a title. I was just going to call the first book Spring, and then Summer, Fall, Winter. And the series is Fairy Tales from Soggy Bottom. But how boring is that? How boring is that? Spring. Spring. But the first chapter is called Storm, and a stranger appears. So instead of calling the first book Spring, can I put in something about, excuse me, about the storm and the stranger? The storm and the stranger. A stranger in the spring storm, or spring storms, something with a stranger. Hi, Annette G. Annette G in the house. Howdy, howdy. Yes, I'm just blah, 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 blah about my story. Yes. Stormy. Yes, I want to have something about the stranger who arrives in the storm in the title, not just spring, spring, but spring storms a stranger brings, or something dramatic. Yes, it's got to be something dramatic, like what is the stranger? Why does the storm bring him? How does he get there? So people want to know, not just spring, but there's a storm and a stranger shows up. Something a little bit more dramatic. So I'm working on that. I know I said spring, but that's not going to be it. We're going to change that right away. Okay, but the first chapter is called Storm for right now. That's a working title. All titles are working. All titles are working. And somebody had said something about too many adjectives and too many adverbs, and Grammarly is good for that. Yeah. And we talked about a song. Yes. I asked ChatGPT to come up with a song for Maggie. Maggie's the one who sings. Yes. It was terrible. It was terrible. I think I used one word from the song, maybe. Yeah. The Mystery of the Stormy Stranger. Yes, something like that, Lala. It's yes. Yes. Something about the stranger in the storm, and it's, yes, definitely. That's definitely going to be something like that. Soggy stranger. Oh no, never mind. Soggy stranger. He is so soggy. Storm blows a soggy stranger into Soggy Bottom. I know, we can be silly. That's okay. We can be silly, no problem. Oh, I was going to read something. Okay. So a storm comes in. Oh, go back to the setting. Okay, so I have one paragraph, and I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I might rewrite it a little bit, and just leave it there, but change it around a little bit. And I'm doing showing and not telling. Part is showing, part is telling. I'm talking about too many different things. I know, because 2 weeks worth of absence from doing this, and I had worked so much on it before I started. So I started the story, Soggy Stranger. The wind lashed wildly through the woods, driving sheets of rain hard against the leafless trees. The storm had raged on for days. Now, ChatGPT, I want to bring that up on my computer. ChatGPT says that the wind lashed wildly through the woods, driving sheets of rain hard against the leafless trees, was showing because it was vivid sensory imagery. Readers can feel the wind, see the rain, and picture the scene. Then it takes the next line, the storm had raged on for days. And it says that was telling. But it's ChatGPT is telling me that I have a good mixture of showing and telling. So I don't know. I might do a little bit of rewrite too. And then where it says, because it was too early in the year for the trees and plants to drink up the falling water, the mossy ground was as squishy as a sponge. Soggy Bottom was certainly living up to its name. That might get a little of a rewrite. Chat GPT says the mossy ground was as squishy as a sponge was showing, and that Soggy Bottom was certainly living up to its name was telling. It was an observation from the narrator, and this is where I learned about third person omniscient. Yes, overall, God's eye view. So that's the narrator saying all this. The sound of raindrops on the roof of their little cottage. The sound of raindrops on the roof of their little cottage was comforting for the three fairy sisters. That has changed since I started the story. Angela Rose sat in the warm glow of the stove with a tiny ladybird beetle cuddled in her lap. Bybee had been rescued from an overturned plastic cup tossed away by a careless human. In her struggle to escape the unfortunate prison, the young two-spotted bug had badly injured her right wing. And I really changed that a lot from when I first started. I'm coming back here so I can see my chat over here. Buffer bug on and off here. Oh, I can totally picture Soggy Bottom in my head. Oh, I hope I'm okay. I hope Mr. Possum's not streaming YouTube in the other room because that'll slow it down. Okay. All right. So, what can I do? All right. What can I do? There's a little bug in here. What can I do in that little section about introducing Bybee? Now, I've only introduced one character, Angela Rose, but her action as a caregiver is to take care of this little injured bug. And the bug is injured because she was trapped in a plastic cup. So I'm thinking about bugs. I'm thinking about adding something in there before I even introduce the other two main characters, just fleshing that out a little bit. I think it's my end, Patty. Oh, okay. Everything is working wonderfully. Okay, thank you. Oh, on your end. Oh, I got it. On your end. I got it. Thank you. Thank you, Lala. Is that a good place to do it, like right at the beginning? I want to show a little bit more, that she's the caregiver. Now, she's got the bug cradled in her lap, but maybe the bug should, maybe she should like comfort the bug because the bug is shivering or, reacting to the traumatic experience that she had, and just go into that a little bit more, or would that be too much information? She will rescue the stranger. Annette, yes, she will rescue the stranger. The stranger doesn't show, but the stranger shows up right away. And Angela Rose is the one who actually hears the stranger and then the next morning discovers the stranger and then is in charge of caregiving for the stranger because that's her role as caregiver. I don't want it to be too confusing. But then we go into Maggie Rose is in the kitchen. I change muffins to scones. Ruthie Rose is making a bed for the little bug. And then those are two like descriptive paragraphs that I don't know. I might have to flush those. Why did I say flush instead of flesh? Flesh them out a little bit more. And then, so all this is going on in the house. She's taking care of the bug. She's making scones. She's building a bed for the bug. And then I skip a space because I've learned if you have like a little micro break in like location, action, characters, you skip a space. I'm telling you all this because telling you helps me remember it, okay? And I'm just learning it. Well, maybe you'll write a story too, and you could be learning this too. Yellow candlelight streamed through the clear mica stone kitchen window into the stormy evening. As it struck a puddle near the garden, the silhouette of a figure was revealed. It emitted a soft sigh, a sad sob, and a hiccup. The night grew darker and chillier, and sighs and sobs became gasps and gulps. Wah! A final desperate wail carried over the howling wind as the mysterious shadow of a creature collapsed. Okay, so that's the first mystery, okay? That's going to be the stranger in the storm. Hi, Jenny. Yeah, I missed you too. You'd love to be a beta reader. Well, I don't have the printouts to pass around the room, so I'm kind of reading it, okay? I did use Chat GPT to spell wah. Because I had no idea how to spell that, okay? We're talking about Chat GPT and the protagonist and the antagonist and showing and telling and all the things that I'm learning about writing a novel. Maybe adding something about busy buzzing in the house before you tell everything that is going on. Okay, adding something about busy buzzing. Well, there's a lot going on in the house. I didn't read it all. I kind of jumped ahead to where the stranger pops in. Okay. And I'm going to actually expand that section out just a little bit more, not too much, just a little bit more. And then I'll come back and I'll read it, okay? Because this is where Angela, the caretaker, comes in again. So that the first whole section, even though the other sisters are introduced, there's a lot about Angela, okay? Angela's pointy ears perked up. What was that? She asked sharply, her eyes darting about the room, searching for someone in need of help. It sounded like a cry. Ruthie Rose paused for just a moment. Remember, she's working on the bed. It's only the wind. I was going to cross off. All right, see, now this is what I'm learning. Ruthie Rose paused for just a moment, okay? You don't need just a moment. No, she paused. Stop. End of sentence. Ruthie Rose paused. That's how you edit, yes. Scratch off everything that doesn't need to be there. It's only the wind, she assured her sister, emphasizing the word wind with a final strike of her hammer. Done. Angela Rose crossed the room to inspect her sister's handiwork. She watched Ruthie Rose place the soft cushion filled with dried sphagnum moss inside the new bed. Now, I might add something in here or take something away, because as she settled Bybie the bug's name is Bybie, down atop it, she asked, did you add some lavender and rose petals to it? Like, why is she even doing that? Unless I explain in there why she's doing it, it really doesn't make any sense, does it? and I've read this part before. When you jump ahead, I kind of, oh, I'm sorry, Mary Kay. I know I jumped there. That's because I want to rewrite that other section. So I kind of jumped from the beginning. There was a lot going on in the house to this stranger that appears because another thing, there's too many things to think about. Hook. Hook. You have to have a hook in the first couple of pages to make people want to keep reading. So the hook was the stranger appearing, and I wanted to jump to the hook right away because I'm going to do a little bit of rewriting in the beginning. But now I see I need to do some rewriting over here. The bug is tipsy from the drink and incoherent. Hot coffee. Okay. I knew I was going to do this live would be fun. Okay, why are you adding lavender and rose? Because I'm going to go back and rewrite about how nervous and jittery the bug is, right? So I need to make a note about this and rewrite that first section. Bybee, she's nervous, right? She's nervous. And somehow Angela Rose has to like maybe pet her, you know, to like, you know, say something to her, you know, something to calm her down because the bug is still like all jittery from trauma, being stuck in the plastic cup and she couldn't get out. So I got to rewrite the beginning and make the bug jittery or nervous or upset for this part to make sense. Because see, it makes sense in my mind, but probably not in the average reader's mind, right? So I need to either take that out or make it make sense by adding something at the beginning. I know, Vicky's making us laugh. Okay, so Bybee's in the bed now, and they moved the bed closer to the stove. And I had to rewrite this part because my timing was all off. But in the original story, she was taking muffins out of the oven and only like 30 seconds had gone by. And somebody said it was a magical fairy oven. It can cook scones in 30 seconds. I was like, no. So I changed it to scones, and the scones are going in the oven. Okay, and then she says she's going to put the kettle on, and then they're going to have a treat of blueberry scones with honey and a cup of mint tea. Now, my beta readers in my first 3 author tea pointed something out to me, and that was, let me find the old one. Okay, here's an old one. This is 4, this is 5. So the old one just went, we'll have a warm treat before bedtime, and jumped to later after each fairy sister was snugly tucked in. The soothing sounds of sleep came from only 2 of the beds. And then I talk about Angela Rose going to the window. So there was a time break there that needed to be filled in. So I don't remember who said that. I'm sorry. But whoever that person was, I just want you to know I added in a bit to fill that time gap over there. Possum Patty, you're looking so good, full of all the lovely giggles and smiles. It's you. It's you. It's all you all out there, the Possum Peeps. They're making me giggle and smile. Yes. Oh, I need you so much. You're helping in my recovery. Yes, yes. And yes, I'd be a big blob, like, if it wasn't for y'all. All y'all. Somebody popping in. Oh, Annette N. We have Annette G and Annette N. Howdy, howdy, picture of health. No, I'm not. My blood count is like here. It's supposed to be up here, top of my ears. Okay, this is my normal blood count. My blood count is here. I'm missing this much hemoglobin. that carries oxygen to all the cells in your body so that they function correctly. Lack of oxygen in the brain, in the eyes, in the ears, in the lungs, and in the muscles. To think, I could not think for 2 weeks. I could not see, couldn't keep my eyes open. My hearing is terrible. I mentioned this in my video or the live. The alarm on the stove was going off, the timer, and Mr. Possum said, "What's that?" And I'm like, "I don't hear anything." Yeah, okay, enough of that. You look so much better. Yes. Oh, for a couple of days. Yeah. For the title, how about something like A Spring Storm Brings a Stranger to Soggy Bottom? Yes, Debbie, that's exactly what I'm going for. Yes, thank you. Yes, something, yes, with all those words. Yes. Let me write that down so I don't lose it in the chat. I know, I'm jumping ahead. People are still thinking, but that's okay. This is just a mashup. I had no plans here. I just wanted to thank a couple people for ideas that they had given me and talk about my three main protagonists. I'm talking like an author. Thank you, Becky. A spring storm. I could have just taken a screenshot, right? But I'm putting all my notes in this book. Spring storm brings a stranger to soggy bottom. Okay. So that has all the words in it. Yes, it does. That has all the words. All right. Love it, love it, love it, says Mary Beth. Thank you. Okay. So somebody had commented, and this is why I'm doing these videos, that there was that break from, we'll have a treat before bedtime, and everybody's sleeping in their beds. And there was like nothing to fill in there. And so I did write a paragraph, and don't mix up the pages now. Okay, so I put a blank space. That means a little jump in time. And I added this. So listen carefully. Bybee. Now we know Bybee's the little bug, okay? Bybee watched from her new comfy bed as the fairies sat around the kitchen table chatting and enjoying their bedtime snack. Maggie Rose and Angela Rose were excitedly planning this year's garden. Pause there for a minute, because the garden comes up in the next chapter. Foreshadowing what's going to happen. Ruthie Rose was sketching in her nature notebook, because I'm going to use images of the notebook in the story. She put her pen down and held up the journal for Bybee to see. Bybee couldn't read the words, but she recognized that the image was her. Her antenna wiggled in the air and she smiled a little bug smile. Okay, so I added those two paragraphs, and they're important, I think, because even though these things were in my mind, now they're down on paper, that they're going to be out in the garden in a little bit, a couple of chapters coming up, and that I'm using Ruthie Rose's notebook, nature notebook, as little images in the chapter. Hopefully, if I can get it formatted that way. Fingers crossed, I hope. And then, okay, and then we go to later, all right, so, you know, there was activity at the kitchen table, and I'm kind of using Bybee sometimes as almost, not really the narrator, but she's sort of on the side, and she's watching what's going on so that I can describe, you know, what the sisters are doing. So she's like the little observer, and she can look around and see that this sister's doing that and that sister's doing that. And by her seeing it, she's kind of all pulling it together. Does that make sense? I'll wait for a response. Oh, suspense. Yes. They're about to fall asleep. They could reflect on their day. Oh, but later, After the sisters were snugly tucked in, the soothing sounds of sleep came from only two of the beds. Okay, so two went right asleep. Yes, they had a busy day. They're sleeping. But Angela Rose, fully awake, was staring at the luminous stars on the ceiling. Ruthie Rose had painted them using a special pigment borrowed from a firefly. There was a gentle tingling on her skin, as if she was walking through a spider's web. Someone was in trouble. She was sure of it. As quietly as she could, Angela Rose pushed her quilt back and swung her bare feet to the floor. Her sparkling wings, fluttering ever so slightly, lifted her onto her toes. Silently, she made her way to the window. She stared into the darkness, excuse me, straining her keen eyes to try to catch even the faintest glimpse of movement. It seemed as if the rain was finally letting up. A swirling mist blocked her view, so all she can see was a brown moth clinging to the other side of the window pane. Angela Rose crept back to her bed and tried to still her worried mind. Sleep arrived just as the storm was leaving. The only thing tossing about in the quiet night now was Angela Rose in a restless slumber. The full moon smiled as the clouds parted. Silver moonbeams streamed down upon the fairies' garden, encouraging the fireflies to begin their nightly dance. But instead of rising high to the treetops, the blinking lights gathered over what seemed to be a puddle within a puddle. Now, I added that part. Just because Angela Rose could not see anything through the window, to let the readers know that there was still something out there, something very strange. So the first, I guess this is a chapter. So the first chapter hints at something outside. While everything is warm and cozy inside the fairy's cottage, there's a storm outside and somebody's out there. And it's sort of like it's two opposing things going on, like warm and cozy, and we're eating scones, and outside there's a stranger in the storm, right? And then I'm using Bybee as sort of like an observer, but she's almost like a narrator, almost a little bit. And then, yeah, but Angela, she's the caregiver. And the other two fall asleep, but she just knows something is wrong. She just knows something's out there, something is wrong, but she can't see anything. So she's sort of, like second guessing herself. So she goes back to bed, and after a while, she finally falls asleep just as the storm leaves. But just so the reader knows that something is still out there, I add that little bit of firefly business because I'm going to put, nature in there. Usually the fireflies do go up to the top, they start down here and usually they get higher and higher as they go. So this is different. This night is different. So that's a little point of nature there. Instead of doing their thing where they go, I don't know about the fireflies where you live, but in Connecticut, they start down on the ground and they tend to like get higher and higher up into the trees. So instead of doing that, they kind of like what's going on over here in this puddle? We heard about the puddle before. There's a mysterious creature that collapsed in there. But why a puddle in a puddle? It's something mushy, squishy in a puddle. What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Oh, Karen, howdy, Karen. Yes, makes sense, says Annette N. Oh, thank you, Annette N. Okay, that's the very first part. I am going to rewrite the very beginning because I have to foreshadow a few things. Like I added in the garden because then there'll be gardening. you know, and I added in the notebook because then there'll be more notebook stuff going on. And the notebook might become important maybe towards the end of book 2 and into book 3. So I'm just bringing it in gently now. Brian, howdy, Brian. He says hello to PP and her peeps. I bought a possum sticker at Powell's Books yesterday with my in-store credit. I'm putting it into my glue book and naming her Possum Patty Powell. Now back to lurking. Oh, thank you, Brian, for popping in and letting us know about Possum Patty Powell. So now we have PP and PPP. Thanks, Brian. Okay. Yeah, where was I? All right. So that's one. Okay. Now, they're going to find out. I think this is a new chapter. Is this a new chapter? This is a still chapter. Where's my list of chapters? Okay. I'm so organized. I know. Hang in there. Hang in there. This might be just 5, 6. No, it's still the same chapter. It's still the same chapter. But there's a break in time. So we skip a space. We're going to skip a space. And now they're going to find out what's in the puddle. Okay. Sort of. Kind of. All right. So it's the next morning. Now it's the next morning. Hi, Linda G. Howdy, howdy. I'm just blabbing and people are helping me out. And yeah, I've been on here a while. Wow, almost an hour already. Wow. Okay, thank you, Linda G. Oh, thank you so much. So now it's the morning. And we know it's the morning and we know the storm has passed. But see, these things are in my mind and that's why I'm reading it to you. And then you're telling me that makes sense or that doesn't make sense, okay? So it starts this way. I'm going to leave a little break, but we're still in the same chapter because it took 3 times for them to find this thing out in the puddle, okay? So first there was the cry, and then there was the fireflies knew it was still there, and then now they're going to discover who it was. Thank you. Oh, did Bex pop in? Howdy, Bex. Cooking dinner and watching. Well, welcome, welcome. I'm just blah, 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 blah. Yeah, chatting. Possum Peeps are helping me here. Yeah, we worked on the title to the story. Yes, we're doing all kinds of things here. They're really helping me out. Okay, so it's morning. So let me know if this makes sense, okay? Barbara Chicken Pot Pie, howdy. Yeah, it was good seeing this morning at Janet Nash's live. And Nancy Jenkins is here. Howdy, howdy. And Gail, howdy, howdy. Oh my, look at all these people popping in. Oh, not scheduled, no. I was just getting some feedback from a few peeps here, but we got a room full of people here now. Oh, I better behave. I better behave. Vicky, you better behave too. Okay, no, make everybody laugh, Vicky. I'm only kidding. Oh, Annette, because Lala shared it. Yes. Everybody's saying howdy to everybody. Okay, we're on the last part of the first chapter. The storm is gone. Does this make sense? The ornate brass scroll work, I can't even read, scroll work on the front door flashed a wink at the sun as the door opened. Noting the groan of ancient hinges, Ruthie Rose pulled an oil can from a pocket in her apron and gave the hinges a quick lubricating. I might have to change that and just say she oiled the hinges, gave them a quick lubricating. And, see, you want something that flows. And now that I'm reading it out loud to you, it's like, don't like that. Okay, we'll rewrite this part. She pulled the oil can out and gave them a quick what? I'll come up with something. I don't like that quick lubricating. Okay. With a purposeful stride, she started around the old tree stump into which the fairies had built their home. She tugged at the honeysuckle vines that grew up the sides and over the top of the roof. While inspecting them for storm damage, she noticed that the tips of the branches held tiny leaves unfurling from the shells that surrounded and protected them from winter's chill. Soon the fairies' home would be covered in scarlet trumpets and surrounded by the pleasing sounds of hummingbird wings. So this is supposed to let me know let you know that it's morning. The storm is gone. The sun is reflecting off the brass on the front door. And as she's inspecting for any storm damage, because she has these vines that grow over their house, she noticed that the leaves are starting to come out because this storm is very early spring. Very early spring. Oiling. Thank you, Mary Beth. Quick lubricating. I'm going to the naughty corner. Barbara. Oh, thank you. Oh, I need this laughing. I think the laughing is getting me healthier. Yes, the laughing is getting me healthier. I know. I thought of that too. Shh, Barb. Relax. Relax. Quickie lube. We're going to Quickie lube. Okay. So now we're highlighting Ruthie Rose a little bit. Now she was building the bed at the beginning. So we know she's like the crafty, handy one, and she was working in her nature notebook. So she pays attention to all the nature things that are going on. And if you have been paying attention to the nature that goes on here at Soggy Bottom, number one, you know that it is full of moss and gets squishy. Number two, rained all the time, right? Seems like it anyway. And three, yeah, I have that trumpet vine right out front that I've taken the videos of the hummingbirds on. So it's all Soggy Bottom stuff, right? Not finding any damage to the vines, Ruthie Rose turned and noticed curly bits of green, gray, and yellow lichen scattered about on the damp ground. The winds had loosened them from the bark of swamp oaks that populated Soggy Bottom. She popped a few into a pocket, intending to make some pigments for dyes later that day. Everything Ruthie does, she's got these magical pockets, and she's always popping things in pockets and pulling things out of pockets. And that's going to like carry throughout the story, okay? So that was just sort of like 3 paragraphs to sort of flesh out Ruthie Rose there. Yes. This is XXX channel. Adult sold. Well, you know, when I pressed live, it did say, is this for not for kids? Yes, I checked. This is not for kids. Yes, I did check that. Yes, I did. Not for kids. Yes, I checked that. Good point. Good point. Good point. Okay, where are we? Make space for me. I love mischief. Okay. Mischief makers extraordinaire. Okay, so that's just a little filler there because I want to talk more about Ruthie Rose because those pockets are going to come in handy as we go along. Okay, we'll do a little bit more. Thank you, Annette. Okay, so now we're going to go to, I changed this. Oh, since I printed this out, I did change this. I had Maggie Rose going to the garden, but, is that how I changed it to? I can check. I think I changed this part. Let me scroll over here. Okay. I find it a minute. Oh, I didn't. Oh, no, it is Maggie Rose. Okay. Because Maggie Rose, I think, oh, in the original, I had Ruthie Rose after she picked up the lichen, go down to the garden and get some tea, some lemon thyme to make some tea. But Maggie's the one who does everything in the kitchen. So I'm like, well, why would Ruthie Rose, who's busy picking up lichen, something Possum Patty would do, um, going down to the garden to get tea leaves to make tea? So I did rewrite this once already. There's going to be, I'm sure, 13 rewrites. 13 rewrites. Okay. So it's going to be Maggie. Going to be Maggie. Maggie's going down to the garden. We'll do a little bit more. Getting late, I know. All right. I'll use this old version here. I'm going back so I can see. So I can see Possum Perfect. Aw. Pest control. Oh, Brittany, bling bling. Welcome, Brittany. We're just chatting here. Please remember to give Possum Patty thumbs up. Oh, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, I'm going to give myself a thumbs up. Oh, Barbara. You're too much. Okay. 11 rewrites. Yeah, I'm thinking 13, Rudy. All right. We're going to see Brittany. Brittany just came in. Okay. I think I'm back where I'm supposed. Guys, better behave. I know this is late night TV. Behave out there. Somebody might be watching this in the morning and they're not going to realize we're doing late night TV. No. Okay. Maggie Rose headed to the garden. Meanwhile, Maggie Rose headed to the garden. Of course, at this time of the year, not much was growing there besides the evergreen lemon thyme. Though beaten down by the heavy rain, she thought there might still be enough to harvest. She pictured the sisters having a nice cup of tea, a nice cup of afternoon tea brewed from that fragrant herb. Now, context. If people don't know what lemon thyme is, okay, I added that little bit in. A nice cup of afternoon tea brewed from that fragrant herb, okay? That is the teacher inside of Possum Patty. You learn everything by context. Always look down to the sentence below it or the sentence above it if you don't know what something is, because many times the writer will throw you a little bone. Yes, give you a little hint, a little Easter egg. What is that? Okay. Okay, here's the big reveal. Just before passing through the garden gate, Maggie Rose spied the first butterfly of the year. A mourning cloak flittered from tree trunk to tree trunk, drinking the sap oozing from damaged bark. That reminded her that it was time to tap the maple tree and make some sweet syrup. She's always thinking food, right? She's always thinking food. Oh, she exclaimed as she tripped over ellipsis. Who said that? Somebody said ellipsis, dot, ellipsis. Somebody put in the comments. That was Tammy. Tammy did that. Thank you, Tammy. Ellipsis, dot. What? Instantly, her wings caught the air, helping her maintain her balance. She turned and looked back at the way she had come. Strange. She hadn't seen anything on the ground but mud, and that mud now quivered. She tripped on something in the mud, and the mud started quivering. Can carry fairy dust in the kitchen for later use. Oh, can fairy dust. I didn't read that right. Yes, Maggie Rose could can fairy dust in the kitchen for later use. Oh, sorry about that, Lala. She's having problems with her internet lines today. We had a huge something branch tree down Mr. Possum said, down the road a little bit. And the town came with the big equipment and picked it up and moved it. But luckily our internet and cable TV, everything didn't go out today. Too hot to sleep in London. Oh, too hot to sleep in London. Janet Nash is in right outside of London, Croydon. And she said it was very hot there now. What is in the mud? Okay, now, in case I can't keep the live stream due to internet issues, hugs and blessed healing bubbles. Thank you, Lala. You're so much appreciated. Yes, you are. Well, we're almost done anyway. I plan to do about an hour with these mini lives, so I can go back and rest, right? All right, now. Yes, Lala, have a beautiful weekend. What is in the mud? Dr. I got to write that down. Canned fairy dust. I know, I'm interrupting myself. That's okay. Dr. B. So Maggie's going to can some fairy dust in the kitchen. That might come in handy. I might have to mention that somewhere along the line because way down in the series of books, that just might come in handy. Okay, thank you for that. Oh, I didn't write down who. I didn't write down last year's rabbit. I didn't. Yes, I know, Barbara. Even those dust bunnies. Who said a spring storm brings a stranger to Soggy Bottom? I want to write the name down. Who gave me that title? I don't know how far back I can scroll here or where it was. If you're still here, who gave me that title? I don't see it. Bling Bling came in. Was it before or after that? I don't know. A snake in the mud. No, it's not a snake in the mud. So close. Sort of, kind of. Yes. It's only Tuesday. It's only Monday here. Thinking of frog, a bunch of night crawlers. Oh, Debbie. Thank you. Debbie. I'm sorry. I want to write that down because I know the chat kind of goes away after a while. Yes. Okay. Now. All right. So we know that the mysterious stranger collapsed in the puddle of mud. We know the fireflies were flittering around the pile of mud. We know that Maggie Rose just went out to the garden. She tripped over something in the mud puddle because she was busy watching the morning cloak butterflies, which is the first butterfly of the season here at Soggy Bottom. Little nature lesson there. And they do drink sap from the trees. And the trees were damaged in the storm. And that's why there's lichen all over the place. It's so hard trying to make everything make sense. Yes. Now, that's the chapter called Storm. Okay, that's a chapter called Storm. This is where all of that is set up. We've got the three main characters. We got little Bybie the bug, who's sort of in there. And then to help narrate the story. And now we've got our mystery, okay? What is out there? What did they find? Now, this is where I want to cut it. Autocorrect. Yeah, I know, Annette. Debbie. I understood what you meant. Yeah. Oh, no, not a storm. Before we know it, the bridge will be washed out. Scary, Barbara. Okay, now, what came in on the storm? Now, this was my idea, and this will be the end. I know this will be the end. And I'm going to let you know because there's more mysteries coming up in this story. So we can solve this mystery here. I know some people want me to do the whole story. Some people only say I should only do part of the story so that people will actually buy the book to read the story. But the way I'm doing it in the author's tea, man, you'd really have to watch all of them in a row and try to figure out what I added, what I cut out, what I'm talking about to figure out the whole story end to end, right? But yes, people are helping me. People are helping me. Okay. So the next chapter, I'm jumping to a new character. And as this chapter goes on, right away you figure out, right, that this is the guy who they find over at the house. And then I jump back to the fairies at the puddle. Okay. So this is a little flashback, backstory, can you say? We're going to learn all about this character. And I've rewritten this 3 times. Yes, I have. I've rewritten this 3 times. Oh, we'll purchase a book. Thank you. And that. Sherlock Gnomes. Oh, they're coming up. Yes, not in the spring, though. No. They might show up at the end of summer. Definitely big hit with the gnomes or the trolls or the gnomes. I'm not sure. It's going to be trolls or gnomes in the fall. And then a surprise happens in the winter. But the, yeah, I rewrote this. And the old one lost. Did I rewrite this one? Stand by. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, yes. Okay. The old version and the new, well, we could just say version 1, version 2. Version 1, version 2. This will be it. Then I'll go to bed. I promise. I promise. I won't stay up too late. Okay. So the title of the chapter is Lost. Lost. I know it's hard to listen and do this. It's easier to look at a paper and read. But do your best. Do your best. I'll do it a little bit at a time. I'll go slow, okay? This is how I started. The slimy snail trail that Wilson left as he glided towards the creek was all sparkly rainbows this morning. He was glad for the sunshine, but worried about the gray clouds on the horizon. A patch of the tastiest mushrooms popped up in the wetlands this time of the year. That image and his rumbling, grumbling, empty stomach kept him inching forward. So now we've jumped to a character named Wilson. We know he's a snail because he's leaving a slimy snail trail. We know he's hungry. He's headed down to the creek and he wants to eat the mushrooms. Okay. I took that one paragraph and wrote a whole page. Fleshed it out, as they say. I know, I'm going to say that 100 times. When teaching kindergartners to cross the street with the patrol, one child burst into tears. I finally learned that she was afraid to cross with the trolls. The patrols. The patrols. She didn't want to cross with the trolls. Oh, Mary Kay fell asleep. Oh, no. Oh, she's listening to my voice. Yes. Soothing. It's either a soothing voice or a boring story. Oh, but I changed it. Glenda, I changed it. Okay. I felt that wasn't enough because of what happens later in the story. Because, see, it's in my mind. I know what's going to happen. And I know how he feels about what's going to happen. But unless I let you in on that, how are you going to know, basically, that? All right, so this is the rewrite. This is the rewrite, okay? Could be better, could be worse. Let me know. Wilson woke early with one thought on his mind: food. As was his custom, he poked his tentacles outside his shell to check on the day before fully emerging his whole body. Ah, the perfect day to go down to the river, he said aloud to no one in particular. There was no one, particular or otherwise, to talk to because Wilson was a land snail and, like most of his species, he preferred to live alone. That fact did not, however, stop him from voicing his thoughts. The slimy snail trail lit the, the slimy snail trail Wilson left as he glided towards the river was all sparkly rainbows in the morning sun. He was glad. Did I rewrite this again? I did. I rewrote that. Oh no, this is it. Okay. The slimy snail trail Wilson left as he glided towards the river was all sparkly rainbows in the morning sun. Have you ever seen the trail of a slug or a snail? Yeah, it's all sparkly. And that comes into play later too. Foreshadowing. He was glad for the sunshine, but as the hours passed, he noticed gray clouds forming on the horizon. Mushrooms popped up in the wetlands this time of year. The tastiest patch grew in a wondrous fairy ring beside the little river. See, instead of the creek, it's now the little river. We have a name for it. It can be on the map. It can be on the map, right? Instead of just mushrooms, it's the fairy ring of mushrooms, okay? Concentrating on that image and ignoring the weather warning signals, something's going to happen. Wilson inched forward with a rumbling and grumbling and empty stomach. The sun was directly overhead when Wilson reached the riverbank. He stopped there for a moment to admire his reflection. Very handsome indeed, he called out to the passing waters of Little River. Wilson was extremely proud of his gold and brown patterned shell. To him, it was a cottage that swirled up over his back. Wherever he went, he was home. His stomach growled loudly. After one last admiring look at himself in the water, he turned and moved towards the 100-year-old fairy ring. Once inside, Wilson looked at the multitude of mushrooms that formed a circle around him. He was sure that, even if he tried, he would be unable to count them all. There was magic in the ancient fairy ring. The mushrooms glowed. I gotta get some magic in here. The mushrooms glowed an eerie green on moonlit nights. That's when fairies and fireflies danced among them to the music of crickets and katydids. But Wilson didn't see any magic. He didn't hear any music. He did not see any fairies. All Wilson saw were delicious buttons of delight, just waiting to be nibbled on. He murmured with his first bite. Wilson feasted on only the smallest and most tender of mushroom caps. He ate and ate and ate. Halfway through the afternoon and halfway around the fairy ring, he suddenly became very sleepy. He looked up at the now gray, overcast sky. Just a short nap, he announced as he glided towards one of the larger mushrooms. He leaned his shell up against its stalk and closed his eyes. He felt protected under its large cap, so he didn't bother to shelter inside his shell. Anyway, it would have been too uncomfortable. His stomach was so full. So that's our introduction to Wilson. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Oh, Bex is going. Bye, Bex. Thanks for popping in. Oh, not boring. Thank you, Mary Kay. Agree. What'd Tricia say? Did I miss it? What'd Tricia say? I could listen to you read stories all the time. Oh, thanks, Tricia. Please take care of yourself, Patty. Best of all, wonderful fibs. Okay, bye, back. Now, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? How does this relate to the story? How does this relate to the story? Thank you, Annette. All right. Should I just finish the chapter? We don't have to talk too much. Do you want to know what happens? Do you want to know what happened? I could just finish this, yes. Annette, should I leave it or should I just finish the chapter? Should I leave it or finish the chapter? Yes, says Mary Beth. Well, if a few people are here and want to hear the rest of the chapter, and thank you all you gentle replayers and gentle listeners out there. Yes, I'm just going to finish the chapter. Bye, Barb. Bye. You can come back and watch the end of the video to find out what happens. Yes. I need some of my creativity to finish off. Oh, she's hanging by her nails. What's going to happen? Okay. I think this is the next page. Yes. Okay. Wilson's dozing off. Just as Wilson dozed off, bright flashes of lightning could be seen in the ominous clouds that were swiftly approaching. A loud thunderclap encouraged several little birds to find shelter in a nearby pine. The wind carried a metallic smell. Wilson slept. So you can see flashing. You can hear the thunder. You can smell that the rain is coming. But Wilson slept. Now I got a little break there. Skip the line because the action's moving to a different location, okay? A few miles upstream, the runoff from the rain in the hills reached Little River. Rapidly, its once clear and rippling waters turned into a swirling mud-brown torrent. Wilson slept. The murky surge of water roared around the river bend and over the fairy ring, snatching up the snoozing Wilson. It swept him along with a growing collection of debris. Wilson woke up. Without understanding what was happening to him, he gasped for air. He sputtered and choked on the dirty water. He tried to orient himself. Which way was up? Which down? He was being tossed about so violently he couldn't tell. He struggled against the strong current for as long as he could, which wasn't very long at all. Wilson's limp body was carried along as the swift waters of the swollen river made their way towards Soggy Bottom. Now we're getting a connection, right? Wilson's limp body was carried along as the swift waters of the swollen river made their way towards Soggy Bottom. A little bit more. That's it. Just a little bit more. Wilson gained consciousness with an alarming sense that something was wrong. His tentacles moved wildly about as the eyes located on their tips opened. He could hear the creek. Ooh, I changed it from creek to river. I gotta fix that. He could hear the river. I gotta fix that. Close by. He was confused. Why was the sky below him? Why was the ground above? Wilson's battered and bruised body lay across a tree branch caught up on the river's bank. It had saved him from drowning in the flood. Ah, said Wilson, I'm lying on my back. I'm lying on my back? My shell, my home. It was gone. Somehow, he and his shell had become separated. Wilson fainted. Line break, time lapse, okay? Hours, days passed. It's a question. Hours, days passed. He woke with such a miserable feeling that he moaned. He was wet, but the downpouring rain refused to wash the mud off his body. He ached all over. He was naked. At the thought of the loss of his shell, Wilson almost fainted again. With great effort, He composed himself. He must find his home. But first, he must find help. It didn't matter that he was unfamiliar with his surroundings. He knew that the direction he wanted to go was the one away from the river. I've got to change that. Ever so slowly, slow even for a snail, he set off. There's only that much more to go to the end of the chapter. I got ellipses there. Dee. Time break, okay? Was the rain letting up? Didn't matter. Was that a light in the distance? Didn't matter. Wilson had traveled long into the night, and he was exhausted. He could not move, not one more inch. Tears fell from his eyes as the sobs began. A feeling of desolation started deep in his body. It moved up and erupted in a very loud and very forlorn cry. Was he in the middle of a puddle? Didn't matter. He dropped to the ground, curled up, and closed his eyes. So now he's in the puddle. He sees the light. Angela was looking out at the puddle. She couldn't see him. Maggie Rose did trip over him. She didn't see him either because he's all covered with mud. So this is Wilson without a shell, the snail who lost his home. So the title, Lost. Well, he was lost. He didn't know where he was. He lost his shell. But the fairies are going to find him. Yes, they are. Okay. So that's it. Oh, my goodness, he lost his shell. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you. Okay. So that's it. Okay. Now, first chapter, we're introduced that there's something out there, but I'm trying to flesh out the characters of the three fairies, with little Bybie the bug helping to sort of watch the action and narrate the story. I might flesh out her story a little bit, some things I need to add. Then Maggie finds, well, just trips over the mud in the mud, okay? The puddle in the puddle, the mud in the mud. And they find him. But at that point, we don't know who he is. So that's why I jump back and do that whole backstory of Wilson. And I added this character, and I added that he was so like he was vain. He was so proud of that shell. He's looking at himself in the water and showing himself off, and he talks out loud. Nobody's there. And yeah, he lives alone, which is a characteristic of land snails. So all those things are going to come into play later in the story. How devastated he is to have lost his shell. Yes, because he was so proud of it. You would endure his reflection, right? Yes. Debbie says, great storytelling. Tricia says, cliffhanger, love it. Poor Wilson, I'm waiting anxiously to see what happens to him. So we'll be told I knew the shell was missing. Yes, it was his identity. Yes. So his shell is gone. He's looking for help. He doesn't know where he is. He heads off. He finally sees a light in the distance, but he just can't go anymore. He just collapsed in the puddle. Yeah, and that's where they find him the next morning. So more. There will be more. Yes, I enjoyed this so much. Yes, I did. Oh, I'm so glad I did this. Oh, yes. I'll have to do this again. I don't know. Maybe I'll announce it. Think of it ahead of time. I don't know. But sometimes I'm just working on something and I have to bounce things off. So I hope that wasn't too confusing, though. All right. So I'm going to work a little bit more in the first chapter with the characterization of the ladies here. A little bit more about Bybie the bug, because she comes into play. Something happens, okay? And she's sort of like the observer, right? it's like the narrator is supposed to be God's eye view observer, but I'm going to have Bybee do a lot of that in the story. Like she's watching the fairies at the table, and she also sees things that the fairies don't see. Okay, so that you know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on. Okay, so she's my little observer slash almost narrator, sort of, kind of. Anyway, Tricia says yes. Do this again. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, all of you. Wow, so many people popped in. Get some good rest tonight. Yes, I'm gonna get some good rest tonight. It was fun. I had so much fun. Thank you, Nancy. Love the characters and their names. There's a secret about all the characters' names. Ooh, you're gonna have to come to the next author's tea to learn about, well, I'll write this down, where the characters' names are coming from. That'll be good author's tea. So I'm going to talk about characters' names. Yes, in the next author's tea. And if I want to move forward with the story and with your help, I might have to do this every so often. I don't know how often, but I'm going to go back and do a little bit of a rewrite, and then I got to move forward in the story because it takes 10 rewrites to get it done. It's like you have your ideas and you put them down, and you know it's not really good writing, but at least you get it down, and then you can go back and read it and rewrite and read it and rewrite. And okay, characters' names. Anything else you might want me to talk about? In the next author's tea. Oh, I have some notes for myself for the next chapter too. So I might rewrite the next chapter. It's called Found, because we had Storm with the introduction of the mystery character, Lost, the story of Wilson losing his shell. And then the third chapter is Found. 1, 2, 3. Sign language. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and I have to add something into that too. Okay. Can't wait to hear the rest of the story. Look forward to more of these if I'm available. Thank you for just popping in. I know I didn't advertise it. I just sat down and did it. I know. Should I send a notice ahead of time if I think I might be able to do this? Maybe I will. Can't leave everything up to Lala. It's just wonderful with that. Yes, I'm gonna go to sleep. Got to get my rest. I did rest a bit today. Mr. Possum is so good. Helping with, washing up and cooking on the grill, so I don't have to cook a lot. And he's folding laundry. Oh, Mr. Possum is folding the laundry. I sort it out. I say these things go together and these things, but he stripped the bed from the sheets and he's folding the laundry and he's putting the sheets back on. And then I can get a little rest. And then I come in here, use my energy. I'll spend it with my Possum Peeps. Oh, I like to laugh. You know what? That puts color in my cheeks. I was so pale and wrinkly. Oh, I was so pale and wrinkly. But look at all the color you put in my face. Oh, you're making me look healthy. Look at that. Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm admiring myself. I'm like Wilson. I'm being Wilson here. It's Wilson's character. Okay, thank you, Lala. Thank you, Gail. I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. I enjoyed this so much. I thank you. Yes, thank Mr. Possum for taking care of me. Yes, you have color. Yes, I had no color, but sitting here laughing. Oh, I'm going to have to do this just to get healthy, just to look healthy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dottie, did I say howdy to Dottie? I'm ready to say goodbye. Dottie, I didn't see you come in. Were you here? Dottie, I don't remember saying howdy to Dottie. Oh my, maybe you were a gentle listener. I don't remember. Thank you so much, everybody. And the folks have already left. I know they had to go, but there's, wow, there's like 25 people in the room, you know. Thank you so much. Thank you. I put out chairs for you all so you didn't have to stand. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye, Lala. Night, night. Mary Beth, Annette, Nancy, Trisha, Debbie, Dottie. I hope I'm getting everybody in here, and Gail, Annette N, Annette G, Mary K, Mary Beth. Bye. Okay, I got to sign off. Okay. I used my energy up on y'all. But thank you. It was worth it. I'm so glad I got to read that part to you. And yes, you did, Annette. You had a front row seat. Everybody, bye. Good night. Good night. Bye bye. I'll pop up again. I'll try to give notice, Lala, a little bit of notice anyway. But, you know, when I have the energy, feel the need, I just had to talk about the story. I haven't thought about it in 2 weeks. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you. Mom always said laughter is the best medicine. Yes, it is. Yeah, Irma Bombeck. Yeah, but there's a doctor that wrote a book about that too, about laughter being the best medicine. And I did look up his name because I mentioned him before, and I looked it up and I knew what it was and I forgot it, but I'll let you know next time. Okay, sleep tight. Oh, my mom used to say that all the time. Don't let the bed bugs bite. I hope I don't have bed bugs. Good night, Vicky. Good night. Bye-bye. Hit the button.